Hello, everyone. Welcome to the very first webinar that our brand new national corporate sponsor is hosting for us. I'm super excited. I have been working with this lady now for a couple of weeks, I would say, and she is absolutely brilliant. If you guys are trying to grow any kind of business, build lists, simplify your system, this is the lady to go to. She is absolutely fantastic. And this lady does have a name. Her name is Nancy Seeger from Seeger Consulting. So I'm going to get everybody to mute themselves. And when you have a question, you can unmute yourself and just jump right in. You can also ask your questions in the chat box, and I'll be keeping an eye on it. And I'll jump in with Nancy if there's a question in there that we need to ask. So thank you, everybody, for joining. And make sure that you get your information about the amazing workshop we have planned for you on January 25th, I think. Yeah. But stay right to the end because we're going to give you some information on that. And right now, I'm going to turn it over to Nancy Seeger from Seeger Consulting.
Thank you, Bridget. It's lovely to virtually meet you all. Hopefully, I'll get to meet more of you at the workshop in January. But I'm looking forward to visiting all of the chapters and getting to know all of you. So reach out if you have room or need a speaker or need assistance. And if you need assistance with your systems, reach out as well. So tonight, I'm going to talk about, this is just kind of a sample tasting. If you were on the Facebook Live on Monday, we talked a little bit about how marketing is kind of like building a long-term relationship, a marriage, if you will. And I'm going to stick to that analogy a little bit, but this is really aimed at, just to get my, my pointer's not wanting to work here. Just give me, okay, going the old-fashioned way. So we're going to jump into, there we go. What exactly is list building? And tonight we're going to talk about the 3 biggest myths around it. And I'm going to give you some background as to why they are myths and what you can do about it. And then we're going to jump right into some things you can do and how to move it forward. So I think the important thing to understand is that as small business owners, there is a limit to the amount of time and money that we can put into any part of our marketing. And I've been doing marketing for a long time, and I can tell you there's bigger money holes in marketing for a small business than just about anywhere else. So one of the myths that small business owners try to build their business on is that if you have a great social media following, that's all you really need. And the problem with that is that social media is like a big cocktail party. It's a fantastic tool to connect and meet with people and have a little bit of chatter going on. But by its very nature, it's social. So if you're trying to grow a business on it, it's going to be really tough to move people from the social cocktail down the altar, so to speak. Sticking to the marriage analogy, it's hard to get them to move that far forward. So although I really advocate using social media, using posts, not necessarily paid advertisement when you're starting, but start out slowly with social media. But understand that in social media, you're planting seeds in someone else's garden. You do not own those lists. And the biggest risk to small business basing their business on social media is that if Facebook or Twitter or anybody else decides to shut you down, they can do it in a heartbeat. And it really doesn't take very much. I'm going to show you some statistics on how often this happens, but it's one of the biggest risks that you can have. You can build these beautiful Facebook groups, and then based on how the computer reads posts that are being made, rants that are in there, whatever, those algorithms from the computer are going to determine whether or not you're a risk or talk about sexually explicit items or spamming people or if you're a fake account. And any of those things, any small amount. I mean, look at these numbers. Almost 1.5 billion accounts and posts violated their community standards in the first 3 months of 2018. 2018. That's just 3 months of 2018.
That is craziness.
I know. Isn't that unreal? And Facebook went ahead and disabled 583 million accounts because of those statistics and because those posts and other items were flagged. Now understand, your competitors can flag you. Anybody reading your posts can flag you and say, I'm offended by this. So you really are building, if you're building only on social media, you're building on somebody else's garden, and they can take it away in a heartbeat. I'm just going to give you, if you're a Twitter person, I happen to love Twitter better than Facebook, so that's kind of more my jam. But 70 million accounts shut down since May. So it's not uncommon. And these are statistics that are done by research companies and the news media. And of course, everything you read on the internet, you kind of have to question. But good old Google, if you go through Google and just look at how many people have searched for Pinterest close my account, that is 468 million people searched on that. That's a trending topic. If you look for Instagram, yeah, that was Pinterest. Instagram, over 800 million accounts. That's the current trending number of people searching for that on Google.
Wow.
Over 1 billion for Twitter. And then winner, of course, is Facebook. 1.1 billion accounts or people are searching for how come Facebook closed my account. So it happens. Doesn't matter if you're in big business or small business, it happens. You don't own that real estate. The other myth that I want to address and make sure that people are aware of is, it's, I don't know what to say. I don't have anything to offer. How can I get people off of social media? I personally find it just as hard to write a good social media post as I do an email. And that's a personal preference, but there's tons of things you can offer. It's so simple. And we're going to go into this in great detail during our workshop. But if you have any business marketing that you're doing, anything that you're talking to people about, you have something that you can offer to get an email address. Because remember, all we're doing here, the goal is to get an email address and maybe a first name. I always like to have the first name because then you can personalize your emails. But it can be as simple as thinking about what the frequently asked questions are that come up in your business. If you're a life coach, what are the top 10 questions people ask you when they start working with you? And you can talk about that. You can create a PDF that's consumable in less than 10 minutes that says, here are the top 10 questions, or answer each one of them individually. Okay? I don't know if any of you are old enough to remember this, but years ago when you used to go to the ice cream store, they would give you, if you didn't know what flavor you wanted, they would give you these little tiny pink spoons to sample the ice cream. So when you think about what you can offer to get an email address, think about what could you put on a pink spoon, just a tiny sample of what people could get to know what you can offer. Okay?
There's another thing, another way that people have worded this to me is give them the why they should do business with you or why they should use something, and then you sell them the how.
Oh, always, always. All of your marketing is about the why. And you're absolutely right. That's super powerful. But it's commonly called a lead magnet. When you're building a lead magnet, you definitely want to pronounce on why they should buy it from you, but you have to give them a sample of something. You have to tell them what you can deliver. So some of the examples that, just for quick off the top, most people like to give out a discount or a coupon or a free consultation, a 15-minute consultation. For example, if you go to my website, you can book a 30-minute consultation with me for free on anything to do with technology and marketing your business. A free report or checklist. That's quite common when you have a blog post to do a summary and do a free report of it or a checklist from it. If you're a speaker, do an audio. If you're into meditations, I have a yoga trainer that I work with that does pre-recorded meditations. And, that's what he gives out. And people love it and then sign up to get more from him. Event tickets, if you're running live events and you have a certain amount of giveaway tickets, by all means, include them. There are so many things. We're going to go through a whole list of them and all of the things that you can put into these kind of lead magnets to get people to give you their email address. But I think the most important thing here is to realize that whatever you're giving them has to be important to them. It's not just easy for you to create, because that's part of it too, but it has to be important to them. And I know when you're starting out, you don't have any contacts. But if you're talking to people at networking events or using social media for your posts or even sending your own email from Gmail, you have an email signature. And you can put a call to action in all of those that will get people to sign up on your email list. And again, we're going to go over these in detail, how to do your email signature to include a call to action, how to customize it. Doesn't matter what email program you're using, as long as you're doing something that takes them to your site and asks them to sign up for your list. So it's important too, and as small business people, I want to be really clear. When you are networking, be the person to collect the contacts. Be the ones asking for business cards. It's much more important to collect them because then it puts you in control of the follow-up. Gives you the opportunity to email them the next day and a week later and just follow up on your conversation. People love to build relationships and talk to people who deliver value. So if you met me at an event and wanted to know about websites, it doesn't mean I'm going to sell you my services in the next email. It means I'm going to want to talk to you more, right? So what was your questions and concerns about it? Have you tried these things? I mean, once you get to know me, and Bridget can tell you this, I love free resources. I'm a small business person too. I have tons of free resources that I share with all of these tribes that I communicate with just so that you can grow your business, because that's my whole goal, is to help you grow your business. And again, don't forget your social media posts.
And how do you feel about the fact that some people are worried about giving free stuff?
Well, you know what? I always believe that people will get whatever they need anyhow. I mean, I work in an industry that is selling somebody else's software, installing somebody else's terminology into their lives, but there's 100 other people, even in the city of Calgary, that can do the same thing. What I bring to it that makes it unique is my perspective, my education, my experience with it, and my whole approach to it. So if I'm bringing me to the table, it doesn't matter about what else I can give on a piece of paper. You're not going to get the full value of me from a piece of paper. And I think if you guys spend enough time with me, you will start to see there's a difference there. And there's always a concern about giving away too much. And that's a fine line that you do have to walk. But I can also tell you, until you have your first 5 clients in the pocket and they're paying you a good amount, you don't know how much is too much, right? Yeah. Even once you do, it's always better to over-deliver and over-satisfy than to hold back in hopes that they'll buy more.
And it also shows off to people how much you know and how connected you are, like people that
absolutely
didn't know about you.
Well, and I mean, it's not uncommon. Like for me, I work in the industry where there's tons of add-ons and plugins, and you can have 50 different types of websites. I don't know them all, but I'm very happy to, if you come to me and talk to me about your website and I don't do that type of website, to say, nope, let me reach out to my connections and see who can support you. I can't do it all. There's just no way in the technology world that I can cover every single one of those and be really effective at it. So I don't serve you if I try and be the solution for everybody. I'm never going to try and do that. It just doesn't work. And the same with you. Even if you're a life coach, and I've worked with lots of coaches over the years, a life coach, everybody has a life. Everybody knows how to talk about it, but what you bring to the table is unique to you. And it's usually something that comes out the more time you spend having a relationship with that person. Does that make kind of sense?
Love it.
Love it? Okay, good. Don't want to leave anybody behind. So if you do have questions, don't hesitate to unmute yourself and just shout in here, because I'm an open book, okay? And one of the things that we'll go through at the workshop is this bigger list of about 43 free ways that you can ask for people to sign up on your email list.
Boom, right there. That's worth it.
Yep, right there. So, it's an interesting thing, because these are 2 of the biggest myths around around email marketing and why you shouldn't have a list. And the other thing I want to talk about here is really important. It doesn't matter how many people are on your list. There is no such thing as list shame. People get over it, because I can tell you, I know people who have a small list of less than 100 and do thousands of dollars every month off of that list. And I know people who have 50,000 contacts on their list, and they still do thousands of dollars off of that list. It's not about list size. It's about the relationship you build with them. Think about all the emails that you get in your inbox, and which ones do you read and which ones do you just ignore? But like, you all read Women Talk, obviously, or you wouldn't be here.
Woohoo!
Yeah. And you're reading it because Bridget delivers value. And she tells you things you want to know about, right? So if you're always keeping your audience in mind with your email, you don't have to worry about it. They're always going to be opening your email. The last myth that I want to touch on here, and I've left lots of room in this for questions, so we can explore different things if people don't have too many questions during the presentation. But the last thing is that email is dead or dying. I hear this every year, but why are you in the email market? Because emails are, nobody's doing email. I can tell you that the facts do not support that. I've been in marketing for over 30 years, and I can tell you that how we market, how we package it, and how we talk about it has changed, but the basics really haven't. Everybody carries that little device in their pocket. Everybody has one of these that allows them to look at their email in a heartbeat. Yes, they also have social media and they spend time on it, but they're not seeing if you post on social media, they're probably only seeing 1 out of every 10 things that you post for them. Whereas if you send them an email and it gets to their inbox, they're seeing every one of them. They can choose to swipe it and ignore it, but if you've got value, they're not going to. And yes, there are things like messaging and chatbots that have an impact in certain markets, but I want to explain to you why email marketing isn't dead or dying anytime in the future, because this is one of the biggest myths that we need to dispel. And that's because companies using email to nurture leads generate 50% more sales-ready leads at a lower cost. Now, I know that's a lot of figures and numbers in there, but the reality is that if you're nurturing your leads, meaning having an ongoing conversation with them, when they're ready to buy, it costs you so much less than advertising or anything else to get them to that point. And you can automate 90% of what you send out in these conversations. I can show you how to do that. It's really efficient. I think Bridget can talk about that too with what we've been working on. It's just way easier to automate than it is to hire staff to do all of this. And it's way easier to have email deal with all the tire kickers that sign up on your list or want to have a conversation with you. You're allowing them to self-select if they're a good fit for you. So it's really important to see the value of it. And the other thing that's really important about email is consumers who purchase through email spend 138% more than those that don't receive email offers. Meaning if you're signed up and interested in opening emails from somebody, you're more apt to spend more money with that person repeatedly than if I just keep emailing you and never make an offer. Because that's one of the big things that people do is they get this great email list and all they do is send them a newsletter and they don't do anything else with it. And if you don't monetize that list, you don't give them a chance to buy from you, you're really missing out on a golden opportunity. So we're going to talk about all of this in the workshop, how to move them through the process, how to know when to make an offer, how to let them self-select and eliminate themselves from your list when they need to, because there's always a time you're going to get lots of people sign up that aren't really wanting anything more than the free offer, which is fine. Bless and release. They're going to go and find what they need in the world. And you will too, because those clients will come. But you don't have to deal with them. Those are called tire kickers, and it's just awesome to not have to deal with them personally. So, but I think what's really the most important thing about email marketing is people buy when they are ready to buy, not when you are ready to sell. And if you've properly set up your email marketing, you're in touch with them and in front of them when they're ready to buy. You've nurtured that lead, and that has been statistically the best thing that you can do with email is to nurture them and walk them through and hold their hand until they're ready to buy, and just make a little call to action at the bottom of your email that when they're ready, they click through and buy it. Most of my emails come with the free consultation or the next step, depending what it is. If they've already had a consultation, it may offer them something else. If they don't buy one product, it can redirect them to another. It's about knowing your audience. And the important thing with email is it touches every part of your customer journey. Whether you're trying to build awareness about your brand or create interest, the average conversion rate for email, the average time that a customer has to become aware of you before they're ready to purchase anything is actually what we call 8 touch points. So think about the last time you bought a car. I mean, I don't know about you, but when I bought my last car, I had no idea there were so many. I have a Lexus, so I had no idea there were so many Lexus around because I'm not a car person. I don't pay attention to them. But as soon as I bought that car, I started seeing it everywhere. And lo and behold, I have 4 neighbors that have the exact same car, the exact same color. So did they imprint on me before or after? I don't know. But the point is I wasn't even aware of them. They weren't even in my, circle. I wasn't thinking about it that way. It's kind of like when you renovate your kitchen and you change the flooring, and then all of a sudden the countertop looks kind of old and dated, right? And everything has to happen. It's the same with what we call these psychological touch points. Once somebody becomes aware of you, if you can keep in front of them and keep their interest going, and you can use social media for that, just know that the likelihood that they're going to see your post is a little bit less. But put it wherever you can. Be it everywhere that you possibly can that you know they're going to see you, to create another touch point. And creating those repeated touch points ensures that you attract their interest. Get them to think about it. And consideration is really where your lead magnet comes in. When they actually give you an email and say, yeah, I'm thinking about this. I'm ready to talk to somebody about it. And the next step is, of course, purchase. If you keep them engaged long enough, and significant number, it's up to 20-30% on average in North America of people who stay on an email list longer than 3 months are going to buy from you. So it's just a matter of building the relationships, building in the trust in what we call micro commitments, asking them to click a little bit here, asking them to take a step, and delivering value. And once they purchase, you cannot forget your customers. And this is where email wins again, because you literally can stay in touch with them throughout the purchase process, to manage the customer, to onboard them, to deliver extra bonuses and resources. Your newsletter, once they're at that stage. I have a real estate client that, and I didn't know this until I started working with her, the average homeowner resells their home every 8 years. So once she sells a home, she stays in touch for 8 years afterwards. It's actually closer to 10, but usually they have sold their home again because she signs them up to sell the house they have and helps them find the smaller home or whatever it is. And all of her campaigns are focused towards moving them to that next step and being in front of them when they do. And she actually only emails these clients every 3 months. It's not like you have to do it every week, and you don't have to go crazy. You have to respect their inbox. But she does it every 3 months, and she has all kinds of them that send her their kids, send her their best friends, because they maintain the relationship over time. So, and I think that's the biggest value, if you want to think about it, is that you're maintaining a relationship, and it's sometimes quite automated, but it's still a relationship. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and personally, what I like about it is that an email is more personal than social media.
Oh, totally. Great point. Yeah.
And when you get a little bit more advanced, maybe not right off the bat, or maybe right off the bat with some of Nancy's program, but you're saying like, hey, Bridget, check this out. And you can actually keep track of what they're clicking on even. So do you like, blue or red, and without them even telling you directly, you'll be able to tell what did they click on, what attracted them, and you really develop an idea as to what they like.
And that's very true. I mean, if you want to go right down into the micro level, we have ways of tracking not just how they came to you, but everything they've clicked on all the way through. And, like I say, what the next step is in the journey, and how to self-select so that they can choose. I want to look at a Lexus, or I want to look at a Saab, or I want to look at a Chevy. They can self-select, and the email systems are automated enough now and smart enough that they literally put them down the right channel and talk to them the way they want. Maybe I thought I wanted life coaching, but after 5 questions, it's more, I need to know how to establish culture in my little business so that I can get value, or I need to understand how to explain what I do to my customers. So I need that kind of coaching. It's just a little bit away from what I started with, because customers don't always know what they're coming to us for. They know what they think they want. And I don't know, I don't know if Bridget, if you and I have ever talked about this, but a lot of the industry works really well selling on what we call problem, solution, problem. And what happens is we are never, like, we know we have a problem, so we go looking for the solution. And that's where the interest is. We're expressing interest. We're doing Google searches. We're doing other things because we know we have a problem and we know there's a solution out there. And you, as the coach, as the service provider, quite often will start working with somebody and realize, yes, my solution will fix this for you. And knowing full well that once they see the solution and see how well it works, that once that problem's solved, then now they're looking at the other thing. It's back to the kitchen floor and the countertops. All of a sudden you go, oh, okay, now that I'm doing that, I need to do this. So if you're properly mapping how your clients move through your, what we call the buyer's journey, you can keep track of exactly what products and services you can develop to serve your clients more and expand your business quicker. So email touches on all of these. And we're going to go into this in a lot of detail, how you can do this.
Are you going to be talking in the workshop a little bit about when people unsubscribe? Because I think some people have anxiety about this, you know, like if I have this list and then I send out email and then they unsubscribe.
Yeah,
I want to cry.
I'm a real advocate of bless and release because I really firmly believe, and this is, I mean, I've been in the industry with email marketing for a long time now, and unsubscribes are a gift. And I'll tell you why is people come into your world when they think they're ready. And that's just their way of telling you they're not ready yet. It doesn't mean they're not going to come back. It doesn't mean that they're not interested in you. It doesn't mean that they don't like you. It just means that they're not ready right now. So for whatever reason, either your message didn't connect with them, which is always a possibility, and we always look at that, or they just weren't ready yet. And I can't tell you how many times I work with Infusionsoft and ActiveCampaign and a little bit, I just started working with Constant Contact as well. And it's interesting because a lot of times I talk to somebody about a program that they have and, you know, they're not interested right now. They go away, especially with Infusionsoft, they go away and they build things themselves and they work on things and everything. And, you know, and I still keep in touch with them because I believe in email. And you know, if they want to stay on my list, lots of them have unsubscribed. And a year or 2 years later, I'll run into them either at an event or, you know, like Bridget and I, we've known each other off and on for years, but we really only started working together a few months ago simply because
I was ready.
And our worlds kept colliding. But when we first talked years ago, you weren't ready. You weren't in that place.
Yeah. And you know, I kept on and on about knowing that you're an expert at this. And I had no ideas. And I mean, none that I was going to use Infusionsoft. 2 years ago, I don't even think I knew what Infusionsoft was at all.
Yeah. And then once you found out.
And, you know, right away you popped into mind because, you know, we know you as the Infusionsoft expert and coaching people. And yeah, it's amazing.
And that's exactly what I mean when I say that people buy when they're ready to buy, not when you're ready to sell. When people unsubscribe, they're just not ready to buy. And it is okay.
Yeah, you know, and Janice here shares that personally I've unsubscribed because I was in a cranky mood. I just know what their story was when they did. And then I go back when I realize I need them again.
Exactly. So I mean, I subscribe to a lot of lists, and as soon as, you know, I'm like that too. My inbox just all of a sudden gets overwhelmed. And I'm like, no, okay, I got to take a break for a while. And I go away. But when I start looking for things again, I go back to them. I don't hesitate at all.
And Roseanne says she's unsubscribed because she just gets too many emails. Like it really stresses her out to have this many emails in her inbox. But you know what? A lot of people that come across your inbox, even though it stresses you out, you still are left with knowing what they do and when you will go and reach out to them.
Yeah. Yeah, even if they swipe and don't read a lot of the emails, it's amazing how much you can stay. And like I said, those 8 touch points, it's amazing how much that little exercise puts them into kind of your subconscious so that you know, or they know, that person said something about that, or I got to get back to that person about that.
And we all have different interests, right? Sometimes
Yeah.
you get this email from the same person and you always just like delete, 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 delete. And then 10 months into it, it's like, hey, wait, what's that?
Yep.
Because all of a sudden you catch something that catches your eye.
Yeah. And it's amazing. But it is really important, like, that you do build the email list, that you move people through so that they're on your list, because that first myth, remember what we were talking about, is you don't own social media. And if you can use your social media contacts and you can move them through to get them to a list that you own, even if they shut you down on social media, they can't touch your email list. You own it. So you're still protected. Your business can still thrive. And, sometimes accounts with these social medias, they are back up in 2 or 3 weeks or a month, but you haven't really lost anything if you're emailing your clients and you're in touch with them. Yeah. If you were relying on social media, you would be. But I think, it is really important that we understand it's all about the client interest first. If you're delivering value, and it's really important you know how to write emails that deliver value and that, touches the customer, so that whenever they think of your brand and whenever they think of your name, they think positively. And they think, oh yeah, I got to remember to call them. Yes, now I'm thinking about Infusionsoft. I got to call Nancy.
Yeah. And I'm slowly getting there also with Women Talk, although it's about women sharing stories. Lately, people get my emails and I keep talking, about promoting and all of our events. And I'm getting people now, okay, I want to learn to speak now.
Yeah, exactly.
And now I'm going to be, the more we move forward and people keep seeing my emails. I just got, actually, just as we're talking, I got a message. Somebody that has never been to a Women Talk event since we very first started, like in 2015.
Wow.
And she just emailed saying, okay, how do I get to talk at all the locations? How do I become a member?
There you go.
Something has changed, and she received my email.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know people that have stayed on my email list for 4 or 5 years and never taken action. And then I run into them somewhere and they say, my business has grown so much just from what you give me on the email list. And I think that's fantastic. Yeah. You were asking me earlier about, giving away free stuff. It's like, if they can grow with that, then when they're ready, they know who they're going to call.
Yeah.
Right? Because they already know the value.
Yeah. So did you have anything else?
Yeah. So let's just continue on a little bit here. So I wanted to talk a little bit about this. I said your list size is not important. It's important to stay in touch, but most companies spend time on growing the list, getting that list ever larger. And the most important part is actually on monetizing the list, because 68% of people unsubscribe due to apathy, where they're not getting regular content or the content isn't of value to them anymore. So
that's a hard lesson I'm learning, ladies. So my email list, I have about 7,000 people on there, and we're about to let go of a whole bunch of them. It's like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. It's like I work so hard.
Well, I will show you how to use that part of it, Bridget. But yes, you do have to let them go off your email list because they're not ready or they've moved on.
Yeah, and there's like so much to it. It's crazy, but it's so, and like, what, we have these old beliefs, like, for example, that email is dying.
Yeah.
And it's amazing when you talk to people that are truly expert in the field and they show you answers. It changes everything.
Yeah, it's kind of like flipping a light switch on sometimes, because people, like I say, it's the common myth. There's always common myths that go around. And, the common myth that social media is all you really need, or that you don't know what to send to your list, that it's so hard to do email. It's so easy to do email. And one of the courses I teach is 1,001 things you can send to your email list.
Yeah.
Like, we can keep it as simple or as involved as you want. It really is more about thinking about how you want to have a conversation with these people than anything.
Yeah.
But how many of you, and you can say it in the chat, you can shout it out if you want, but how many of you want to learn how to easily build your list to make more money?
Woohoo!
Hopefully there was a few shout outs there. So we got
hell yeah.
Yeah, good. That's what I wanted to hear.
Janice is super excited. She's just been like going on. She just was like shouting out to you earlier.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, there it goes. It goes. Is anyone else vibrating from all this information? Janice is super excited. And Janice, you're gonna love it. It's gonna be amazing.
Well, I've left a lot of time, so if anybody has questions, I'm happy to stay on as long as it takes to answer some questions.
So do you have a little bit of what are we going to touch on during the workshop?
Well, we're going to start right with, what do you need to get set up, and what do you need to do, and what can you offer them? We're going to talk about all the things that are important to build it, how you deliver value, when to deliver call to actions, what a call to action is and how it works in email, and how to segment your list, how to ask them questions to get them to self-select and move between one area and another, and to, when to monetize, how to do what we call a flash sale, how to never ever, and I'm adamant about this, and sorry, Bridget, I know you did this in a little bit with your sports bra company, but how to never ever do a sale on Black Friday or Cyber Monday and still make money, and when you should be doing your offers in email.
I actually did not do a sale this year.
Oh, you didn't do it this year? Okay.
No, I'm just not ready. I'm just trying. But it was funny, actually. Yeah, I just, there's a very brilliant lady that does marketing, and she did that exact same thing. She just wrote and said, oh, I took a week off. Oh, but I'm not ready. And just, because you stand out. Like, she totally stands out.
Well, and the thing is that you always want to differentiate yourself. So if you're always doing it with the herd, you're always going to get lost in the herd, right? It's just like Christmas cards, holiday cards are fantastic because we all love the season, but there's so many of them in January, nobody can tell you who sent them a card.
Yeah.
But if you do something in January to kick off the year, you're more apt to get noticed.
I know.
If you do it at the 1st of April when nobody's doing anything, you're going to stand out.
This is the beautiful thing about Nancy, is that she's got all the tech, and that's what I was just blown away, is she has, she's about the technology, but she just understands marketing like it's crazy. Very, very brilliant. By the way, so for most of you, I think, are members, it's $47. Like, are you kidding me? How much would you usually charge for a 3-hour session?
Well, if I was when I run this full list building workshop, it's $497. It's 4 hours and it's $497.
$497, and you guys are paying $47. So all I'm going to say is the link is in the list here. Click the damn link and sign up. Like, it's a no-brainer. And I've twisted Nancy's arm, but what I'm going after here is that, yes, Nancy is our national corporate sponsor, and I want to help her because she's big in the US, but not as big here, and she wants to get some of us Canadian women to work with her. So that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to, but the best way to do that is to give you a sample of just how brilliant she is. So that's what that offer is about, is to give you a sample on how brilliant Nancy is. So grab it, because you may never see something like that again. I may have to wrestle her down real good. But
you had to wrestle me down to get this price. So.
Yeah. So this is our first event together, and I said, let's make it super cheap so that people get to meet you and know what you're about. So that's why it's that cheap.
Yeah. And like Bridget said, I mean, I love Canada, I love small business, and I love working with women, but I really have the majority of my customers in the US. And for me, moving into Canada, this was just like the marriage of the right time, because I launched some talks in Calgary and stuff in 2013 after the flood, trying to help local businesses, because I had 0 local businesses when the flood hit. There was nobody I could help restore their business or anything. And I went out and banged on doors to try and help people. But I launched a local support group for local businesses with that intention in mind. And so when Bridget came to me about supporting her and that, this was like a marriage made in heaven, because I was looking for a way to grow businesses in Canada, a way to support women, and you know, to be a bigger part of the business landscape. I really believe, especially women business owners, make the biggest difference in the economy. Their businesses last longer, they tend to be more stable, and that means they're better for the economy overall. So bless you all for what you do for all of us, and I would love to support you in whatever way works.
And we're building this amazing, powerful tribe. That's so amazing. So you guys, if you want the $47, I forgot, I put the link in the comments, but I forgot to put the code. So that's the code, MEM 1801. And you can go, because I'm putting it in there because I think we're all members here. Yeah. So there is your code. So you can go and register.
Awesome. Okay. Do you want me? I'm going to turn it back to you, I think, right?
Yeah. So
is there any questions? I can't see the chat or anything from here. So.
Yeah. Can we stop the screen share?
Yeah, that's what I was just going to do.
Everybody can turn their cameras back on.
Yeah. We stop sharing. So we should be good now.
Yeah. So everybody turn your mic on, your cameras on, unmute yourselves. And did you have any questions, any comments about what Nancy? Oh, Jennifer has a question.
I want to know about, while we're small, how do we automate our emails? Like, do we use MailChimp? Like, I just started Women Talk Kelowna in May. I think I've got a list of 50-ish people now, but I don't want to have to email them via Gmail and
no, and you really shouldn't, and you should
manually. What do I use to automate this process while I grow?
Well, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't Bridget send most of the emails out for you?
Yes, I do.
Yes, but I email the ladies that come to my events directly as well and keep in touch as well.
Okay. So if you're keeping in touch and you're doing it in a small, you really should be using a mail system. As a minimum, MailChimp. Start off free. MailChimp is, I think, free up to 2,000 users. Active Campaign and Constant Contact, I can put you in either one of those, and they start off, you know, less than $20 a month kind of thing. So it's not hard to get started. It really just depends on what you want to do with the list. But here's the thing to know. Even Gmail has Google Business, Google My Business options, where you can get your domain through their Gmail system, and it will support you a huge amount. And that's like, I think with their whole office, it's like $8 a month or something.
So and you really, I think even all of you ladies, most of us have a small business.
Yeah.
I think that you should use some kind of email system right off the bat so that you can keep track of everything that's going on.
Yeah. And the thing to know about it, even if you're using MailChimp, it's a protected system. In Canada, there's really tough laws on spam. So you have to have something where they have the unsubscribe link, and that's where you'll protect yourself, is having that. But the reality is that if you are leaving MailChimp or anything, all of those also allow you to take all your names and addresses with you, right? You can't take credit cards. Credit cards a whole nother can of worms, but you can take the names and email addresses and addresses with you. Your data is yours. So it'll save you so much later on and make it so much easier.
So Women Talk, like, we do send emails to everybody every month. The event's coming up, the event's tomorrow, and we're going to automate all of this. But I think it's actually a very brilliant idea for you directors to strike a relationship with your attendees.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
And you can actually develop a relationship with you and your attendees for your business. So you have to be careful, you know, with the rules. Like, you cannot use the email address from Women Talk to email your business information. But what you can do and say, hey, wasn't that a great event, and blah, blah, blah. And then at the bottom, you just have the link to whatever it is you do.
Yeah. Just like, you know, like you saw on my slides, it has my Facebook page, it has my business address on there. Again, make sure that you're putting your information in all of these, and they're going to sign up to learn more about working with you as well.
Yeah. Was there any other questions? So you're all rushing over to sign up, I see. Woohoo! And then we're going to make it fun too. It's going to be a great afternoon.
Yeah, Bridget's going to be there, so it's going to be fun, right?
So do we have any comments, questions? And if not, we're going to end the recording. So I can't see everyone. I just need to change. There's a better setting. I can see the Brady Bunch.
Oh, now
all right,
you can see everybody.
so I'm just going to stop the recording here. Thank you very much, Nancy. Now, if people want to find you, what's your website?
My website is seegerconsultinginc.com. It was on the back of one of those slides, but
can you write it in the comments?
Yeah, I can. I will put it in there. In the chat, I'm just going to put that in there.
Yeah, so if you write that in the chat, then you guys can click on it to go see her website and see what.
And my website is still, I'm going to make sure I typed it right. Yeah, is up and running, but I have a new one coming in about 2 weeks. So,
with a new name?
Nope, same name, same domain, but the whole layout and my web designer's just redoing it as we speak. And Andrea's working on the copy.
I'm just typing the www in front of it. There you go. So people can just click on it now. So, hold on a minute. Did I send it?
You didn't send it to everybody. It's okay.
I don't know what happened there. It's it switched itself to Michelle only. Let me do. There. Oh, there we go. It's popping everywhere now.
It's popping up everywhere.
So you guys can click on that so that you can save it and go have a look. And hopefully you decide to join us in January.
And there is a button on there if you do have something pressing that you want to talk about, but you didn't want to talk on here. You can always email me. It's just Nancy@SeegerConsultingInc.com, or you can book a time in my calendar right there on the site and we can have a chat.
So I'm going to stop the recording now. You guys can stay on. Thank you very much, Nancy. And
thank you, everybody.
Okay.